This is ninth grade literature, and we are beginning Act 4 of Henry V. And I need a chorus. I can't remember who our chorus has been.
Oh, I think that was me.
All right. I wrote at the top of this page, October 25th, 1415. This is the day of the Battle of Agincourt. The last thing I wrote at the end of Act 3 was it was 2 a.m., a.m. meaning the morning of October 25th. So the last thing you see in Act 3 is the French. Remember, how did we describe their attitude? Yeah.
Overconfident.
Yeah, this is never a good idea. If you're an athlete, I tell you, every time you think you got something in the bag, that something's going to bite you. I mean, it's just not a good idea. That's why coaches always say that the team that they're playing is the greatest team ever, no matter how good they really are. But you will see a different story on this side of, remember how many feet separate the French and the British? 500 feet, which is 1,500 paces. So that's 5 football fields from goal line to goal line, back to back. It's the length of the oval of the track. If you ever run a 400, ever run a lap around the track, you stretch that out, that's 400 meters. Add another 100 meters to it. I mean, they're in spitting different distance from each other. I mean, they can hear each other breathe at night. That's really close. But I don't even know if that's true. It's Shakespeare. It's he does exaggerate, and the numbers, a lot of that, not very accurate. But anyway, so chorus to begin. Chorus will give you an idea how the English are spending the night.
Where should I start?
Now entertain. Act 4. Chorus. What?
Yeah, I read to like the middle.
So we're at the end of that. So did we read the whole thing?
We didn't read the last page.
All right, so we'll start the second page, whatever that is. I don't know what that is for you.
It's 197.
For us.
Yeah.
Walking from watch to watch, from tent to tent, let him cry, praise and glory on his head. For forth he goes and visits all his host, bids them good morrow with a modest smile, and calls them brothers, friends, and countrymen. Upon his royal face there is no note, how dread an army hath enrounded him. Nor doth he dedicate one jot of color unto the weary and all watch night, but freshly looks and overbears our team with cheerful semblance in sweet majesty, that every watch pitying and pale before beholding him plucks comfort from his looks. A largest universe like a sun, his liberal eye doth give to everyone. Thine full fear, that mean and gentle awe. Behold as may unworthiness defy, a little touch of Harry in the night, and so our scene must to the battle fly, where, oh for pity, we shall much disgrace, with 4 or 5 most vile ragged foils, right ill disposed and raw, ridiculous, the name of Agincourt, yet sit and see, minding true things by what their mockeries be.
I think the question asked, find examples of foreshadowing. That's not my question, but we can do that. But what is the attitude of the French? What's maybe one word that describes it? Yeah. What? Anybody? One word describes the French attitude? Because we just said it? Yeah. Overconfident. How would you describe the English attitude? Wary, W-A-R-Y. Yeah, cautious, wary. They have every reason to be. They're outnumbered, they're sick, they're wounded, they're tired. So they have every reason to be a little bit somber. And they are sitting around their campfires thinking or sleeping. The French are playing games. Yeah.
Wait, what question is that?
It's question number 1, but we're really not answering that. I mean, 46, not number 1. question 46. We're not really answering that question right yet. What is Henry doing? We'll see him doing, but what does he say he's doing? Yeah.
He's going to disguise himself and go out to camp and encourage people and find out what they were doing.
Right, and to me, that's a sign of good leadership. The French king is nowhere to be seen, but Henry will be among his men, and so that's a good sign. It's asked you, are there anything point to like any foreshadowing? Do you see anything that foreshadows? If they're overconfident, if you said they were confident, that wouldn't tell us anything, but they're overconfident. So we know how it ends, of course. We know the history, but the fact that they're overconfident tells me a lot right there, right? They're kind of setting themselves up for failure. I don't know what else would point to it, but I think that's probably enough. I would like you to write this line down. It's a silly line, but I like it, and I'll tell you why. It's line 46, 7, 8. A little touch of Harry in the night. Write that down. It's line 47, 48, something like that. A little touch of Harry in the night. And I'd like you to underline it too in the text. The reason I like it is because it's a great example of iambic pentameter. You can count it on your fingers. A little touch of Harry in the night. It has 10 syllables. Every other syllable is accented. If you said that over and over to yourself, you would get the iambic or pentameter meter in your head. Why would that be important? Because if you ever wrote a sonnet, you would have to imitate it. You would have to write it in iambic pentameter. Next year when you read parts of Paradise Lost, it's in iambic pentameter, unrhymed iambic pentameter. Every sonnet is written in iambic pentameter. All of Shakespeare's plays are written in iambic pentameter. So some people don't get it. We write sonnets in junior year, and that very few people get it. They don't hear it. They don't. Do you hear it? A little touch of Harry in the night. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Sounds like a galloping horse. Da-da-da-da-da-da. That's how I remember it. It's just kind of like da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You don't have to count it. I know what it is. Anyway, it's just a good example. So if I ask on the test an example of iambic pentameter, all you have to write is a little touch of Harry in the night. So we'll flip the page. We're ahead of everybody. That's all right. We won't get a lot more done here. But we need Henry. We need Erpingham. Historically, Erpingham. Did you do that? All right. Libby will be Erpingham. Erpingham is the officer who, apparently he's an old man too, but he was the officer in charge of the longbow, the longbowmen. And remember, that's really, they were the ones that won this battle for the English. I should say the British, because it was more than just English. Gloucester has a little bit, want to be Gloucester? All right, it's just a little bit. Then we need Pistol, and Harry again. Henry is Harry. All right, we won't get too far, and then we'll see where we stand.
I don't think we have do we have a Henry? I think it's Henry.
Sorry, he let us all down. But I'm
I
showing
believe we
us.
should be Henry.
I need a Henry or Harry. Any ladies want to read it? I'm not going to read it myself. Lily will be Henry. All right, Henry. And it's Gloucester.
Gloucester, 'tis true that we are in great danger. The greater therefore should our courage be. Good morrow, brother Bedford. God Almighty, there is some soul of goodness in things evil. Good men observingly distill it out, for our bad neighbor makes us early stirrers, which is both healthful
Now, I just go back just a second. He says there are some goodness in things evil. What could possibly be good about evil?
Learn lessons. You learn lessons from it.
Yes, and what is one of the primary lessons is you better get up early in the morning and prepare for it. So he says evil has gotten us out of bed early, and so we're going to be prepared for this battle, which they were, and the French were not. And then he meets Erpingham.
Not so, my liege. This lodging likes me better, since I may say, now liar like a king.
'Tis good for men to love their present pains, upon example, for the spirit is eased, and when the mind is quickened out of doubt, the organs, though
Defunct.
and dead before, break up their drowsy grave and newly renewed, with captive sun and fresh grief. Lend me the cloak, Sir Thomas.
Notice he says, "'Tis good for men to love their present pains," upon example. So the spirit is eased, and when the mind is quickened out of doubt, the organs, though defunct and dead before, break up their drowsy grave and newly moved. It's almost like if you accept the pain that you're in, it takes a load off your mind, and if your mind is free, then you can think better, and that kind of works in reverse and gives life to your body. You get this from Shakespeare. Just great. These bits of wisdom, I think, that are true. All right, Harry or Henry.
Brothers doth commend me to the princess Miracle. Do my good sorrow to them, and anon desire them all to my beloved.
We shall, my liege. Shall I attend your grave?
No, my good knight, go with my brothers to my lords of England. I am my bosom, must debate a while, and then I will no other company.
The Lord of heaven bless thee, noble Harry.
God a mercy, old heart, thou speaks cheerfully.
Now he puts on Erpingham's coat, which is going to help disguise himself. No one will know. From this point on, none of the people who meet him know he's the king, and he's by himself, which is also in the epistle.
Who goes there?
A friend,
Discuss unto me, art thou officer, or art thou base, common and popular?
I am a gentleman of a company.
Trailst thou the puissance like light,
Even so, what are you?
as good a gentleman as the emperor?
Then you are a better than the king?
The keys of the falcon, and a heart of gold, a lad of life and end of fame, of parents good, of fist most valiant, I kiss a sturdy shoe, and from heartstring I love the lovely boy. What is thy name?
Okay, he doesn't know that's Henry, and he just complimented Henry. He gave him a lot of, Beaucock is a fine fellow. Beau, good, I guess. B-E-A-U, beautiful. Anyway, Henry.
Harry the Lord.
Okay, what does that name literally say?
Harry the king.
Roy is the French word for king. So he says, I'm Harry, which is short for Henry. So he's actually telling him his name. I'm Harry the king.
Leroy, a Cornish name, art thou of Cornish crew?
No, I am a Welshman.
Knowst thou Roland?
Yes.
How come I'll knock his leaf about his pate upon St. David's Day?
Do not you wear the dagger in your cap that day, least he not that about yours.
Art thou his friend?
And his kinsman too.
If I go for thee then,
I think ye God be with you.
my name is Pistol called.
It sorts well with your fiercest.
Now this whole scene is ironic. And why is it ironic? Yeah.
Because Henry knows who Pistol is, and Pistol's just talking to Henry because he doesn't know who he is.
Good, and we know who Henry is. So everything that's said takes on ironic dimensions because we know something that a character does not know. Very good. Yeah, do we have a Gower? We need a Gower. You want to be Gower, Charlotte?
Captain
Who's our Fluellen? Would you like this? Yeah, thank you.
So in the name of Jesus Christ, speak pure. It is the greatest and admiration made in the universal world. When the true and auction
Arrival. I get tiffs.
prerogative, and laws of the wars is not kept. If you would take the pains but to examine the wars of Pompey the Great, you shall find, I warrant you, that there is no tittle tattle nor pibble babble in Pompey's camp. I warn you, you shall find the ceremonies of the wars and the cares of it, and the forms of it and the sobriety of it, and the modesty of it to be otherwise.
Why the enemy is lying before the night?
If the enemy is an ass and a fool and a prodding coxcomb, it is me you thank you, that we should also look you. Be an ass and a fool and a practicing coxcomb in your own conscience now.
I will say clever.
I pray you and beseech you that you will.
Though it appear a little out of fashion, there is much care and valor in his working.
I enter 3 soldiers. Leroy, would you be Court? You gonna be Bates, and would you be Williams, Taylor? These are 3 regular soldiers. They're not noble.
Brother John Bates, is not that the morning which breaks yonder?
I think it be, but we have no great cause to desire to approach it there.
We see yonder the beginning of the day, but I think we shall never see the end of it. Who goes there? A friend. Under what captain serve you? Under Sir Thomas Erthington, a good old commander and a most kind gentleman. I pray you, I think he of our estate. Even as men wrap upon a sand that look to be washed off the next tide.
He hath not told us his thought to the king.
No, nor is not meet him he should, for though I speak it to you, I think the king is but a man, as I am. The violence smells to him as it doth to me, the element shows to him as it doth to me. All his senses have but human conditions, discerning his way, really by in his nakedness he appears but a man, and though his affections are higher mounted than ours, yet when they stoop like the wind, like winds. Therefore, when he sees reason of fears as we do, his fears out of doubt be the same relish as ours yet. Yet in reason no man should possess him with any appearance of fear, least he by showing it should dishearten his body.
He's talking about himself. They don't know he's talking about. He's talking about the king. He is himself.
He may show what armor courage he will, but I believe, as cold as night as 'tis, he could wish himself in things up to the neck, so I would he were and I by him. At all adventures, so we were quit here.
By my troth, I will speak my conscience of the king. I think he would not wish himself anywhere but where he is.
Then I would he were here alone. So should he be sure to be ransomed and marry a poor man's wife, say.
I dare say you love him not so ill to wish him but here alone. And whosoever you speak this to feel the other man's minds, methinks I could not die anywhere so contented as in the king's company, his cause being just and his quarrel honorable. That's more than you know.
Aye, or more than we should seek after, for we know enough if we know we are the king's subjects. If his cause be wrong, our obedience to the king wipes the crime of it out of us.
But if the cause be not good, the king himself hath a heavy reckoning to make, when all those legs and arms and heads chopped off in battle shall join together at the latter day and cry all, he died at such a place, some swearing, some crying to their servants, some upon their wives left poor behind them, some upon the debts they owe, some upon the children alone left. I am afeard there are few die well that die in the battle, for how can they charitably dispose of anything when blood is their argument? Now if these men do not die well, it will be a black matter for the king that led them into it, who to disobey wear against all proportion of protection.
So they're going to have a discussion. They're only here because the king is here. And so the king, if his cause is not just, then they're going to die in vain. So they're discussing, is the king's reason for fighting in France a just one? And they're not so sure. And he's going to defend his cause. Henry.
So if the son that is by his father sent about merchandise do sinfully.
Can I pause? I don't hate to interrupt. See how long that is if you turn the page? We're not gonna be able to finish that before we leave. I didn't realize it was so long. So why don't we pick that up tomorrow, it will be our, Henry. We'll start it right there. So this is Act 4,